3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everyone, to the Briones Pickleball Podcast. Today, we have a really great episode for you. We're going to actually talk about the growth of pickleball, specifically in the college realm. Obviously, this sport is growing. It's a sport we all love. Today, we have a special guest, Caleb Young, and he is the captain of the Purdue pickleball team. What's up, Caleb?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Well, for those of you who don't know, just really quick, I've known Caleb for a few years,
now,
maybe?
Yeah. A few years.
I don't know. I mean, we moved here about 3 years ago. I remember that I met your dad pretty early on, and I'm pretty sure he's the first one I met.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he was the first one you met.
And
too, yeah.
shout out to him. What's his Instagram again?
Is it Young Photography?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's taken, obviously he does a lot of professional photography, sports, but he's actually done a lot on the pickleball side and taken a lot of pictures of, of the pros at the PPAs.
APP.
Okay.
All those big events.
Yeah. So does he still currently does that?
Yeah, he still currently does that. So he recently just shot nationals, which was at Legacy or Bellbank Park.
Yeah.
Which was in like November. So he shot that one.
Cool.
He was going to come out and shoot our Collegiate Nationals in Texas, but he didn't end up making it out because it was a little expensive for him. But yeah, he'll still show all those sports he shoots.
Cool.
College sports,
yeah,
NFL sports, NBA, MLB, everything. So
cool, man.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna talk about Caleb, because he's been helping grow the sport at Purdue. But speaking of shooting the pro pickleball, though, your dad Bruce, does he get hired by PPA to do that, or does he just do that for fun? Or
I think like initially he was hired by the PPA. Now he might just be contracted with like Getty Images or something like that. So he'll get like credentials to come in and shoot. I think it varies depending on like the organization and stuff. But I think whenever he requests to shoot it, he can pretty much get in and shoot it. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Cool. All right. So Caleb, you've been I met you and your family about 3 years ago. We've hit several times. Yesterday,
we hit yesterday.
We got to drill yesterday. Actually you got a part to be in my video, so that's awesome. Thanks for the help there. But why don't you tell the viewers and me also, because I knew that that you did some stuff at Purdue, and but I actually don't know anything. I didn't research anything. So I want to know kind of what's the update in the college space, what you're doing specifically at Purdue today. And then we'll branch off and we'll talk about like just the growth of college pickleball in general.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Go ahead.
So basically, I think our club started up I want to say 1 or 2 semesters ago. I think our like general club started up about 2 semesters ago, and then our competitive team, which is our team that travels to like all the tournaments and competes in like the collegiate tournaments, that started up last semester. So originally when I got to Purdue, there wasn't really a pickleball club. There was just kind of like a group meet chat that was just like, hey, who wants to go play? But so eventually there were some guys that ended up, creating a club, because the way our clubs are set up is you actually have to go like through like the Purdue process of like becoming a club in order to be like an official club. So there were some guys that started that up, but they weren't really active. And then 2 semesters ago, we had some guys take over that are on our current exec board right now, and so they kind of exploded the club. So now we have tons of club events. We're running those like all around, and so that was about 2 semesters ago. And then last semester was the first semester we started our competitive team. So last semester we traveled to like Illinois, Georgia. We traveled to a few different places to play in a bunch of collegiate tournaments. Michigan. So we got some, nationals bids for that. But my role on the team now is I'm taking over as competitive team captain for this semester.
For the collegiate team or competitive team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I should take a step back. Our club kind of has 2 different parts. We have our general club side and our competitive team side. So in our general club, we have a Discord server. I think it's like over like 1,200 members now in our Discord server, which has like exploded like exponentially since we first like started that.
So backtrack here, because I wasn't, I didn't go to a college like that. So just really quick. So like a club, I understand how it could have, different colleges could have like chess clubs, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. So is that what you're talking about? So you have to go through the actual college to start it, I guess.
Yeah,
or
so
to
we
be
need
official.
we need like a whole constitution. We have to have at least a president,
Wow.
VP, and I think like a treasurer in order to become like an official club.
Okay.
So
and when you become a club at a college, like what does that technically do, right? Because do you get funding, like whatever, do you get exposure? Because anyone could just start something. Like what happens when you start a club? And you said it's at 1,200 members now, right?
Yeah, in our Discord server, we got like over 1,200 members and counting.
Okay. So what happens when you start a club at a school, and what support do you get?
Yeah, so I think it varies by school, but specifically for our school, there's kind of like 2 tiers. So there's just the like club tier, which is like you're just kind of like a school organization, and so you don't really get funding, but you get recognized on like the school club like organization website. So students can search for you, find you, join your club and stuff like that. So that's kind of more just like anyone can kind of create anything, and anyone can join. Kind of where our club has moved to is we've gotten recognized as an official club sport. So that means we actually get like some monetary allocation from like kind of their like club sports pool. And so we get some funding from the school. We get reserved court space, which we don't really have pickleball courts right now, but we get reserved court space in like our gyms and stuff, like if we're running events, if we're running practices, we get, reserved like conference rooms if we're like running events and stuff like that. And we get to work with Purdue recreation and wellness people in order to, make sure that, our events can run, we can go to tournaments. And so we get to work with like the business office. So they kind of control all of our funds and stuff like that. So we have to go through them for like all of our monetary stuff and funding and stuff like that. And then we have this organization called the SAO, which is student activities and student activities and organizations. So they kind of run like all of our like APFs, which is our activity planning forms. So every time we run an event, we need to fill out paperwork, because we don't want like the liability of someone getting hurt and stuff like that. We have to kind of set all that out. So
awesome. So you said there's a regular club, and then now there's a competitive team, but what was the thing in between?
Club sports.
Oh, club. So what happens when you're club sport?
Club sports is kind of the thing that allows us to be the competitive team.
Got it.
So they give us like some monetary allocation so that we can use that to actually go travel like to different tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah. And based on, and we'll get more to the growth of pickleball, but I just want to kind of know, club sport wise, or at that level, how many colleges, like, do you have a rough number of club pickleball sports in colleges right now? Like
that's a really good question. In the country? I mean, I think it varies by university. I don't know like specifically what other universities, like how they run their things, like whether or not they do club sports. I know my brother, he's at ASU, and I think they're an official club sport right now, but I don't know if they get the same funding that we do. I think they get like, actually I think they get a little bit more, but in terms of like numbers of colleges, I'm not 100% sure on like, who's like club sport, who's, like personally funded or stuff like that. But
all the big colleges, I guess, that you rival in other sports, do you know, like, how's the growth, just pickleball in general? They all have just a regular kind of clubs that they've started?
I think so. So like a bunch of the clubs have their own Instagrams. So I would assume like they've started their own clubs and stuff like that too. So I know we played we're trying to set up like this Big Ten Classic. So all of like the schools in the Big Ten, they have clubs and stuff like that. I know ASU, GCU, we've played them, the Utah schools, Miami, all the Florida schools. So
cool.
There's a bunch of schools that have started playing and stuff like that too.
That's awesome, man. All right. So when it comes to kind of a club sport, now you're talking about super competitive. You're getting funding now.
Yeah.
And actually you said you're traveling and stuff. So what does that look like now? And just kind of explain the landscape of that. And I'm assuming, right, there may or may not be money involved. I know that I saw, online and on YouTube, there are some championships now. But I don't know how that actually goes and weaves with your stuff. But yeah, why don't you because I don't know anything about the college space. So how is that going right now?
So in terms of like travel and stuff, we do have to travel to a bunch of tournaments. There's actually 3 national tournaments next semester. So there's the National Collegiate Pickleball Association, which is in Las Vegas. I forget their prize pool and money, but they're giving out prize money.
Wow.
The APP has their collegiate championships in, I think it's Cape Coral, Florida. They're also giving out money. And then Duper's hosting another one in April. They haven't decided where it is yet, but they're also giving out money. So in terms of like giving out prize money, they're starting to give out more and more, especially at the collegiate championships. I think this past one in Dallas, Texas, I think Utah Tech, they got first place. I forget how much they got in, like, for their check, but I think it was like $15K like for their team. So it's a pretty sizable amount of money, especially for like us college kids who like we don't have any money. But in terms of like traveling to the tournaments, like I'd say it takes like for like 4 people, our flights to like Dallas were like $1,200 round trip, and then we have to pay for rental cars and hotels. So how many people are on a team? So like you guys go compete, and did you guys compete Purdue in the national championship? Yeah. So this November in Dallas, Texas, we competed.
And you said Utah won that one.
Yeah, Utah Tech won that one. There was 64 individual schools, so like individual colleges there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a huge event then.
Yeah, this was like the biggest one of the year so far.
Okay, so 64 schools. And are those just random 64 schools, or did they have to qualify? So oh, they did have to.
They had to qualify. So throughout the year, there's what Duper calls super regionals, which are regionals that Duper puts on. So they'll give out 4 nationals bids at those tournaments.
Wow.
And then schools can run their individual like campus regionals. So like if a school wants to put on their own tournament that's not run by Duper, they can do that, and they're allowed to give out 1 bid if they apply like through Duper. So we actually ran our own campus regional, and we gave out like 1 bid at our tournament. But yeah, all 64 schools had to get a bid in order to qualify for nationals.
Yeah. So I guess that was my question. I don't know how many schools around the country, but in this national tournament, there's 64 teams. So that's pretty huge.
64 that qualified. And then, like thinking outside of that, there's probably like even more that, didn't qualify or just weren't able to make it or stuff like that. So it was a giant tournament, like 64 schools. And you're thinking about like 4 players per team, because it's like MLP style for Duper. Okay.
So I was going to ask you that too. So on that tournament, or I guess just when you're competing college to college, so is it pretty much right now like MLP style, so two men and 2 women?
Yeah, so that's kind of, so there's kind of 3 different organizations. There's Duper, APP, and NCPA. So Duper is running like the MLP style. So you got 2 guys, 2 girls on a team, kind of running an MLP style. APP is also 2 guys, 2 girls per team, but they're not running an MLP style. They run it like a little bit different. They run it like mixed doubles, then men's singles, women's singles, men's doubles, women's doubles.
So that's more like tennis format, maybe.
I think kind of more like that. And then NCPA is like even more different than that, where it's more like, or it's less team format based and more like almost individual based. So everyone runs like their own individual events, and your team gets ranked based on like how you do individually, but also you get ranked individually. So it's not like MLP style where it's kind of like the team format and stuff like that too.
Got it. So is that what's going on? So I see, there's the Duper that's in there and running, we'll call it like leagues or tournaments. And that national championship, was that like a Duper one?
Yeah.
So but there's other 2 organizations that are also trying to get in at the same time. So which is the biggest one? Is it Duper right now?
I think Duper is by far the biggest one as of right now. 64 schools. I don't know how many went to NCPA. Literally started like last year or something like that. APP, I think they had their national championships like last year or something. I didn't go. I don't know who went to that one, but I think Duper right now is the biggest one. Okay. Yeah.
And so what's the process now? So you're in Purdue, you're the team captain. What's the process of kind of, you said if it is MLP style, there's only 4 players.
Exactly.
So do you guys have tryouts? Like how do you determine who's on the team? Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. So we had, I think 194 people try out this semester, and we only have 32 spots on our competitive team. So that was pretty brutal. We had spent like 4 tryout days or 4 tryout sessions.
Wow.
We had to cut down from like 194 to 32 people.
So who's doing, so do you run a tournament? Like who is doing the picking? Because obviously in other sports, right, there's scouts and stuff, and I'm sure this is where it's heading, but so what happens? How do you cut down to that?
Yeah. So as of like right now, it was like me, and we kind of had a panel of a few of the guys who were already on the team. And so we kind of ran tryouts, like kind of looking just at people, because we didn't have a tryout fee. We knew there were some people that were just trying out, just just to come play pickleball. And like, unfortunately, like we knew we had to like cut them like after like the first half, but after that we had like a callback for a few of the guys who were like really on the borderline of making the team, and so we had them play out each other, and then from there we kind of made the decision of there. But right now on our team we have 32 total, 16 guys, 16 girls.
Okay. And what level? So I'm assuming, because I have no idea where the landscape is, but let's say you had 16 guys, 16 girls, so they're all 5-0 plus level?
No.
Oh, they're not right now.
No.
Okay, so but,
I mean, ideally, like in an ideal world, we have everyone at 5-0 plus level, but I don't know.
Well, I just wanted to see, right? Like, I guess it depends, right? What area, what school you're in. So but the top, I guess my question is, okay, so not everyone is at 5-0 yet, but the top players are for sure, right?
Yeah. I mean, at our school, I think our highest duper right now is probably mine. And then we have a few other guys that are like, they've gotten a lot better and their dupers like coming up. But in terms of like collegiate, like who has the highest duper in collegiate, I don't know if you want to pull this up. They actually have like a whole ranking of like guys, but I think the highest duper rated person right now is Jack Monroe.
Okay.
Because he's at UT Austin.
No, wait, he's still in school currently? No, right?
I think so.
Really?
Because he just played at nationals for UT Austin.
Okay.
I saw him. I sat next to him on the bus. It's pretty funny, but.
Wow. Okay.
In terms of like the top people in like collegiate, like overall, they're above 5-0. Like they'll play like the PPA qualifiers and stuff like that. I think some of them have been making like main draws and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool.
But like in terms of like clubs, like whether or not clubs have like 5-0s like down their roster, like I don't think it's at that point yet where like collegiate is like saturated enough where we have like 5-0s just down the roster.
Got it. So I guess the next thing is I would like to know is, as a sport grows in college, but specifically the club sport.
Yeah.
And also, I like to talk beyond that, but the tennis players.
Yeah.
Are they even at your school yet? Because, we know that they can just come in and be very, very good very quickly. So are they at Purdue or any tennis players coming over yet and getting involved? Or is that not happening yet?
Yeah. So we've actually had like a few club tennis players from Purdue come over and like join our pickleball team. So that's been pretty good. Like they're insanely athletic. Hands are crazy fast. Like their drives just dip super fast over the net.
Yeah.
We're continually trying to recruit like like the club tennis players, because like I mean obviously like they have all of the skills, they just gotta like learn the pickleball shots, right? So once we're able to like get them to do that, they're gonna be insane.
Yeah.
I think just in terms of like the collegiate landscape, I think a ton of people like came over from tennis. Like if you just like watch people play at like the tournaments, or if you're playing against your opponents, like you can tell like some of these people were like at least club level like tennis players. If not. Like we have a guy on our team who's like, his UTR was like 11 or something, like 13 or something. He was like, he had D1 offers for tennis, but now he's playing pickleball for us. So
wow,
it's been like pretty cool to see like those tennis players come over. So we don't have that many coming over yet, but we trying to get more and more.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. All right. So what else do you do, and what are you doing to grow the sport? And then the next thing I would like kind of talked about, I'm sure you may have got asked this, but or you may not know the process, but like how does like a sport like this go from club to an actual sport, a college sport where now we're just scouting, like like basketball or football? Like how does it get to that level? And now where they're giving scholarships and stuff like that, or do you even see it getting there anytime soon?
Yes, I think actually a few of the schools are giving out like pickleball scholarships. I'm not sure how much they're giving out. I know there's this school called Drury University. They give out some scholarships. I think some of the Utah schools are already giving out scholarships.
Wow.
But that's one of the things I've asked myself a lot too, is like, where does collegiate pickleball go from here? Like, how do we continue to grow the sport? And I met this guy at the Nationals in Texas. He said he worked closely with like the Duper board and like the APP board and stuff like that. And I was like talking to him like, like where do you see collegiate, pickleball going from here?
Yeah.
Like how do we get more money into the sport? How do we bring the viewership up? And kind of what he said was he wants to build the storyline. So that's kind of what Duper's trying to do. They have their like Duper collegiate ambassadors now that are going to try to be like promoting schools, I think, and stuff like that. They're also trying to do more on social media for like colleges and stuff like that. Wow. So like Instagram wise, kind of making highlight reels of schools, highlighting certain schools, kind of increasing, how much they're showing like the collegiate side of pickleball and stuff like that. But I still think we're quite a bit a ways from, I don't want to say like legitimate sport, but kind of like pickleball, collegiate pickleball being like a legitimate sport. Like to get to the point where we're even recognized kind of like as collegiate tennis, I still think we're like kind of far off from that. In terms of like us getting to where, like collegiate football and collegiate basketball are, I personally don't see that come into fruition in like 10, 20 years. Like we're still like way off from that because collegiate pickleball just doesn't bring in like the kind of like money that, college football and college basketball do, which is the reality. Like if you want to build the sport, like kind of like grow it like super, super big. Like obviously like the money's got to be coming in somewhere. You got to be getting viewership.
That's the thing too. I think about and obviously I do think this sport has room to grow to that, to a high level. Now it's talking about like basketball and football. They got the eyeballs. There's huge people coming in. Now, the one sport we could kind of compare it to, right, is tennis. And I know collegiate tennis is tennis as a worldwide sport is very, very large. Now, I've been to some tennis college, events, even the national ones, and they're fairly big, but like on a regular day or regular match and stuff like that, it's not like there's thousands of people coming in. So they, that's what I compare it to. So I do see it at least maybe getting to a level that tennis or volleyball or some other sports that have full rides come in.
No, that's definitely like my hope for the future is like, how can we get pickleball to a spot where it can like maybe even like challenge like collegiate tennis or something like that. Like I was talking to the guy, I was like, do you think it'd be better for the sport if collegiate pickleball became like an NCAA sport, or if like a third party like Duper, APP, NCPA, like one of those organizations like owned it? I was like, I don't really know. Like, because obviously if you go like the NCAA route, like you got a bunch of restrictions that get put on you, like your sport and whatnot. But if you're running Duper, like how do we grow like Duper, like APP or NCPA? Like how do we grow those organizations to get it to the scale that, like the NCAA like tennis is at? I don't know.
That's crazy, man. Awesome, dude.
Because like we, like at the tournaments and stuff like that, like nationals is probably where they bring in the most viewership and they bring in the most like amount of fans. So they live streamed the like I think championship court and a grandstand court for nationals on, I forget if it was like Duper, like the PPA website or like Pickleball TV or something like that. But that kind of increases collegiate viewership, but that's only to like the pickleball like realm. So how do we get pickleball more to like the collegiate realm, just like in general? Because like we had tons of, there were like a bunch of parents and grandparents and friends of like people who were playing on the team that came out to like watch them. But how do we get like our colleges to kind of like come out and get behind the sport? I think that's kind of where we'll grow like the sport from there. Is like if we can get like alumni, current students, like current fans of the colleges to come out and kind of like cheer for their schools and do stuff like that. I think that's kind of where college pickleball could kind of explode. Yeah, dude. No, it's amazing. It's cool to see the sport growing at the college level. I don't know where it is at the junior high and high school level. I know here in Arizona, they're starting to build courts, what I've heard, at junior high schools. Really?
So that's cool. And as it grows into, high school, I think as the sport maybe grows at that level, I'd probably, accelerate things. So we'll see. I might have to get someone that's on the high school space.
High school or junior high school.
Man, what are you doing currently to grow the sport at Purdue? And what do you, what would you like to see in the next, 3 to 5 years? I mean, how many years do you have left at Purdue? Only a couple?
Like 1 semester left.
Okay. So what are you doing until then, until you leave, and what do you see yourself doing after that?
Yeah, so I think I'll continue to be, on the exec board. We're currently trying to grow that exec board, but basically what we're doing in terms of like our Purdue community, we're trying to run as many events as we can to kind of get the students involved. So whether that be like club tournaments, glow in the dark pickleball, Halloween pickleball, just anything that kind of gets, students involved and like active in the club. And that's kind of more for like our general side. In terms of like the competitive side, we're obviously trying to do some like recruiting from like club tennis, badminton, just anyone who doesn't know about our club yet to just kind of come out and play for us. But that's kind of where we're going in terms of like trying to grow pickleball at Purdue, is just get exposure to like the Purdue community, because we're kind of like we're in a college town, so we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we reach out to the neighboring like city, which is Lafayette, and they have their own like pickleball association, but it's more of like older demographic. So we're trying to also create events where we can have like college students versus like the Lafayette people, or like the older demographic over there, to try and like grow and strengthen that community there. We're trying to look for sponsorships that are just around Purdue, kind of promote brands. We have our social media, which is like kind of taken off. We have Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. So we're on all of those, trying to create more content to just kind of try and like push that out to everyone as well. So.
Yeah, awesome, man. Here we pulled. Let me just pull this up really quick. Got your team here.
Yeah, we got our team there. So.
I know that this is kind of blocking, but there's you in the middle, so you're the captain. Are any of these players here from club tennis, like you said?
Guy in pink hat.
Okay.
Parth.
Yeah, he looks like a tennis player.
He's like what? He was like UTR like 11 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think a few of our girls, like right there, Elena with the orange overgrip, she played tennis.
And then is there a coach? Is there a team for this? For as the college sports grows, is there like a team coach?
Like a coach. Our school doesn't technically have a coach. Like this guy here, Dr. Linus, he's our club advisor.
Got it.
He's not our coach per se. I know a few of the schools have coaches, like Michigan State, Indiana. They have coaches, but we don't have one as of right now.
Wow, and shout out to Carbon. So Carbon looks like, so did they basically sponsor your whole team?
They sponsored our competitive team, yeah. So we got paddles. They got our jersey, so we got the Carbon logo on the side, which is pretty cool. And
so everyone is everyone using a Carbon then in their and when they're competing?
Like as of right now, so basically the way the contract was structured was, it was like our top 8 people that got Carbon paddles. So everyone on our top 2 teams basically is using Carbon, and we're trying to get it so that our whole competitive team for next semester is able to use Carbon paddles for that. So
that's cool.
You can see them all like in the front row right now, but no, we really appreciate Carbon. Kind of what they've helped us do in terms of like growing, our competitive team, and also being able to like use their stuff at tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I'm sure, right? There's so many opportunities for paddle companies to be. I'm sure for big teams as the sport grows, like they're going to be trying to sponsor so many different. And
I think it's like
teams.
It's a great way to go. I don't know the statistics on like return on investment for like the companies or whatever, but like in terms of like the collegiate space, like if you're a pickleball company, like kind of collegiate's the way to go. Like we have the younger demographic who knows how to utilize social media. We're going to tournaments. The collegiate side's blowing up. So if you want to get exposure, for like your company per se, I think kind of like going like the collegiate way is like the way to go now, because the reach of like a collegiate like school is like, if you think about like our school, like we have like 50,000 undergrad people at our school. It's like if we can even reach like 10% of that, that's like huge for like these pickleball companies and stuff.
Or basically, right, you have the competitive team, like let's say you're Carbon, Yola, whoever, Selkirk, you sponsor their whole team. The whole team is using that, so when people start playing,
they see our team,
they're gonna want,
like, what's this team using? I kind of want that. So that's kind of what we're doing with Carbon right now, is like, because we're sponsored by Carbon, we're able to put their logo on like all of our club events, like with like within Purdue and stuff like that. When people ask us, like, hey, what paddle should we use? We have like, hey, kind of like go use what we're sponsored by.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty cool like that. So
that's cool, man. Cool. You know, on this podcast, we talk about a lot of different things. I talk to a lot of different people. I think it was cool to hear what's happening in college space. And, but you know, I know a lot of viewers and listeners out there may be interested in this, but also they're also aspiring players themselves, whether they're trying to go pro or just trying to be the best on their courts, or, you know, they're playing tournaments at whatever level they are. What are some things in your game, Caleb? And I guess we're kind of switching to like pickleball, things that you've seen, you know, things that maybe you've had to grow in your game, but also as you see the landscape of pickleball change, what are some of the things that you've had to work on over the years, or that you've seen change?
Ooh, I think definitely the faster game. Like, kind of when I got into pickleball, right, it was more just dink, come into the net, hit resets, hit soft shots, you know, keep the ball low so people can't speed up. Now with like paddle technology, ball technology, especially tennis players coming and changing the landscape, right? I think, you know, if you can get drives that dip, shake and bake on thirds, just hands, flicks, rolls, just all the attacks. I think that's kind of what I've had to work on is, you know, how do I get better at those kind of shots too? Because as tennis players come over, right, they're kind of changing the landscape already, right? Because they put so much spin on the ball, they hit really hard, and they're able to keep the ball in, right? So you kind of can't beat people just by resetting every single ball, because then you're always on defense. You're gonna get attacked, leaves more court open for them to attack. So I think it's kind of the way, or kind of the areas that I've had to improve on is, you know, like my attacks, counter attacks, speed ups, hitting drives that drop more. But yeah, I mean, if you look at like guys like Kwang Dong, right, like just ripping balls from midcourt, ripping balls from even like the kitchen and stuff like that, and they land in. So it's like,
dude,
you kind of, you can't always beat those guys by just resetting every single ball. So it's I think that's kind of where I see, you know, the pickleball landscape going, is as paddle technology gets better, ball technology gets better, these guys come in with like even crazier spin, crazier shots, more power. I think people have got to be able to match hand speed, match drives and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, you heard it there, folks. Attacking. We talk about it all the time. Hey, that's a perfect segue there. Check it out. Check out our free video series. Go to ATTACKingMasterClass.com. If you actually want to learn about what Caleb's talking about, we made a free video teaching tool for you guys and you gals listening. So ATTACKingMasterClass.com. Check it out. We talk about that on the channel all the time, Caleb, about attacking, where this game is going. We talked about paddle technology, but also a mixture between that and then obviously the athletes coming in from tennis. And it's interesting because, you know, just to talk technically, right, someone like a Kwang Dong who rips forehands in that semi-Western grip. I was trying it out a few shots a couple weeks ago. I had a friend in town, and it's definitely not my natural stroke, and obviously I wouldn't recommend that for most players, but it's very difficult to do. But for tennis players who are used to hitting the tennis ball that way, it's very natural. And man,
and the ball gets like dip, like you can see it go like this over the net, so it's super hard to like even like block a drive when it's coming down like at you, like over the net. It's crazy how much
so we're gonna see more of that. I usually do this with my co-host Caden on the show, but what's one thing in your game, a little pickleball tip that you overall, right, because there's a lot and you play, you know, at a 5.0 plus level, what is one tip that's kind of changed your game or helped you, whether it's like very recently or early on when you're kind of making progress to where you are now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is footwork and stability, honestly. Like if you can be stable on every shot you hit, you have a much better chance at getting it over. Like obviously there's gonna be scrambles where you're like off balance and just gotta like get it back, but I mean, like I'm probably my favorite player to watch just from like a technical standpoint is probably Ben, right? Because he approaches the game so methodically. But I mean, he's always on balance.
Yeah.
Always split stepping whenever he's hitting his shots. He's never like just kind of like leaning to one side. So I think making sure that I'm stable when I'm trying to like, you know, hit shots like dinks, resets from the transition zone, even drives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think has been something that's helped me out a lot, as opposed to just like leaning one way and trying to just hit a ball out of the air, like off balance, falling backward. And it's kind of what you were telling me yesterday too. Like, I was trying to work my 2-hand backhand roll, but I was kind of taking it when I was like leaning one way, and you were like, you know, you gotta be set for that, which is, you know, something that's super important. So footwork and stability, I think, is one of the biggest things that.
Man, that is the thing. It's amazing as I've made so much content now, but also when I work with players in real life, when we do our intensives and things like that. That's such a huge thing. It's crazy because that's one of the biggest, I would say, biggest things that gonna make the most impact in your game, being balanced and stable in footwork while you're hitting the ball. But as a player, you know, like hearing that is not the sexiest thing, right? It's like,
that's like the boring thing.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, not as just only a content creator, but as a coach, like trying to find that balance. It's funny because, you know, there's obviously been huge YouTube channels that have exploded recently, you know, in the past year or so, about, you know, going over different topics and stuff. But man, the meat and potatoes is really in, you know, the fundamentals. And I think that's like that in any sport. That's why when we're training players at our intensives or when we're doing anything like that, I mean, there's so many. I mean, that's the first thing we look at. And and I honestly think that the higher level you go as well, it even becomes more and more important. Like 4.0 to 4.5 to 5.0. So that's really interesting that you said that. So
I mean, like, even as you like we were hitting like yesterday, like you're kind of telling me like, you know, even if I get a ball in a bad spot, I can put it at your inside foot, get you off balance, make you move, right? So it's like when I'm hitting it even like off my inside foot, I'm not balanced. I gotta take a step back. I gotta, you know, hit the ball in an awkward position, and you know it's a really hard shot. So if you can like force your opponent to be off balance, I think that's kind of where you get more space to even like attack and stuff like that too. So that's why balance, like stability, is like super important.
That's cool, man. What is your normal? Again, Purdue. You know, you said you don't have courts yet.
We don't.
Now you're literally playing in a basketball gym, right?
We just got 2 tennis courts resurfaced to 6 pickleball courts, but the temperature's dropping below.
Oh, so that just happened.
Yeah, like literally like 2 weeks ago. But
wow. Okay.
Because we're hitting
it's winter. Yeah.
Sub 32 temperatures, we're gonna have to go back inside, and we don't have indoor pickleball courts at school. So
you haven't even used them yet, technically, or maybe
we've had like 1 club practice out there.
Oh man.
The whole semester so far.
Okay.
So we can't even use it probably until like
spring,
March
right?
or something like that, when it gets like a little warmer.
Dude.
Because it'll start snowing,
like
freezing rain. Can't use it. So
that sucks. But I guess it's like the same thing with tennis. So it's really only usable like what you're saying, like March. But then school's out in the summer.
Yeah.
So then it starts to get cold again, and so there's a small window, man.
Yeah, there's like a small window that we can use those outdoor courts for. I mean, we have like our school has like indoor tennis courts, but
they do.
We're not allowed to put pickleball up in there.
So you approached them obviously, and they were just a hard no.
Yeah,
like
they said no.
Really?
I mean, we're gonna try again to just ask them to see if we can get in there. But
so wait, hold on. How many indoor courts do they have?
Ooh, that's good. At least 8, I think.
Wow. And you're telling me. So they probably just shut it down, but like, dude, like you can schedule practices and stuff way like on times when they're not even in there, right?
Exactly.
But
I think it's because it's used for like the actual like Purdue tennis team, not just like like rec tennis or club tennis.
Got it.
And they don't want us like messing up their courts or whatever. But like
so the club. I guess does the club team? They don't use those courts at all then.
They do. The club tennis team does use those courts.
Oh, so they do.
Yeah, the club tennis team also uses those courts. They just don't want pickleball to be on those courts for some reason.
I'm wondering. Well, you know what? keep fighting for that, man.
Yeah, we will.
and I'm obviously, all the tennis players are gonna hate on that. I mean, I used to play tennis, but I think if you come up with a creative way, to maybe like offer that on the table. And here's what I'm thinking too. I get it. Like, they don't want more lines. They don't want, if there's basically, even if you had to, I don't know if there's a system to put down lines that's not tape, that doesn't mess up anything, or even if you have to put rubber stuff down, that doesn't like mess with it at all, and it's not even close to the nets or anything. Like, you're literally would just be using the court,
just like the court, like, as it is.
I mean, I think that would be a better sell.
Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna try to like look for ways to kind of finesse our way into, you know, kind of getting there to use it. But the funny thing is, though, they teach like a pickleball like class as like a Purdue like class.
Way.
Like, it's a I don't know, it might be like 1, 2, or 3 credit hour class or whatever
in the indoor
in that facility.
Yeah.
So they just don't want club pickleball playing in there or something. I don't know. We're gonna keep fighting for that, though.
Okay. Dude, I wonder if there's a that's going to be the next thing that's invented, dude. Oh, but that would have to be, I don't know, maybe it's possible, but like a projector
where you can like put like lines down or something.
Yeah,
like
put lines like super bright lines.
That'd be
dude.
Crazy.
And then you can just move it.
Yeah, because then you don't have to like actually physically put stuff on courts. Like, tennis people wouldn't worry about like having their courts getting messed up or whatever.
I mean, those would have to be really bright lights. I don't know how that works.
We got some Purdue engineer brains.
Yeah.
We gotta get some of our Purdue engineers to go build that.
Yeah. Yeah, cool, man. Well, you know, I'm glad the college sport is growing, and it's just good to get an update of where it's at. And I know that a lot of teams, you know, now I have a better understanding, at least. A lot of club teams forming competitive teams, and I'm sure it's the right trajectory of trying to get it to either, you know, an NCAA sport or some sort of organization that is huge. But I mean, man, huge opportunities for paddle companies.
Oh yeah,
just the sport in general. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely exploding, like on the collegiate side as well as like the younger side too. So
yeah, where would you like to see it go from here? Or here, let's just do, and we could check back in 3 or 5 years, but where would you just personally like to see it go? And what do you think is a reasonable thought, like in the next 5 years, to, like, what's your best guess?
Good question. I'll probably still say it won't be an NCAA sport, but it'll be maybe 2 to 3 times bigger than what they're running it at right now. So maybe like from 64 schools, maybe increase that. I don't know if you can triple. I don't know how many universities there are, but maybe triple that, or bring in like at like double or triple the amount of money or something like that. Run like bigger tournaments where you have more teams. Like, as of right now, Duper can only have like 1 team, but like maybe letting like multiple teams per school go or something like that.
Yeah.
Or having like different divisions, like D1 versus D2 versus D3 or something like that. I don't know. But I think prize money increases.
Yeah.
Number of schools increases.
Yep.
Venues get bigger, and more fans come.
Yeah. The thing I'm thinking too, I guess it is all about the money in a sense, but this is what I'm just thinking, because, you know, I was a tennis player and I'm thinking college tennis. Like, basically, if they can like give money, I don't know if it's sponsorships or whatever, to athletes that for pickleball, I mean, those tennis players are going to start. I mean, if it's enough, or you're like you said, like maybe not the top tennis players, but, you know, the ones
still
that
high level, like
still high level, that maybe basically if you're making the team, but you're not on the, the roster or whatever, like if those players can still get paid and play pickleball, that's where, I mean, I think that's where the sport can grow. Really quick.
I agree with you like 100%.
Yeah.
Because just better athletes, better players,
going
to change the landscape of the game. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Well, yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully you guys listen to this and got some information on the college landscape, but pickleball is growing everywhere, for, like I said, junior high, high school. I don't know where it is on the elementary level. I know a lot of schools are doing, and PE classes are including pickleball all over now. But no, it's a great sport, obviously, that we can all play. But yeah, any last things you want to mention, Caleb?
I don't know. Shout out to the Purdue Pickleball Club. Thanks, Carbon, for sponsoring us.
There you go. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you all for listening. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.